a lot of people get hip-hop and rap confused. And that's what we're here to educate you on today. How hip-hop started, who started hip-hop, where hip-hop started, but most importantly, why hip-hop started. Does anybody know who started hip-hop? DJ... No? It's a good guess, though. DJ Kool Herc.
Mr. Herb.
Mm-hmm. Spelled with a K. So everyone take notes, because based on your notes, you're going to write rhymes, and then we're going to, record the songs, and then eventually shoot a music video. So DJ Kool Herc is the founder of hip-hop. Does anybody know where hip-hop started?
Bronx.
Bronx. Where in the Bronx? South Bronx. All right. Does anybody know when hip-hop started? Guess. Yes, sir.
79?
Very close. It is the 70s.
Oh, okay.
73. 73, yes. 1973 is when hip-hop started.
Okay.
Anybody know the month and day hip-hop started?
March.
Good guess. That's a month. Let's say hip-hop started how? Basically by jams in the park, right?
Yeah, summertime.
So summertime. Give me a summer month.
June 18th.
No.
July?
Next month?
August.
August. August 11th. Why? Because the first hip-hop party was a back-to-school party. So Kool Herc was throwing a back-to-school party on August 11th in 1973. If you go on Google and you Google Kool Herc August 11th, 1973, you'll actually see the original flyer is on the internet that started hip-hop. So we know who, we know where, we know when. Excuse me. So Kool Herc was a famous DJ in New York City, and he DJ'd at all the major clubs downtown New York. And in the early 70s, there was a big gang epidemic in New York City, especially in the South Bronx, and these gangs were battling, and there was a lot of murders. And he basically felt, or he knew that the kids in his community couldn't afford to come downtown and go to these high little celebrity clubs that he DJ'd at. So out of the kindness of his heart, because there was so much crime in his neighborhood, he decided, I'm going to take my speakers out and my records out, and I'm going to throw jams in the park to give the kids in my neighborhood something to do instead of joining gangs and killing each other. So we actually met Kool Herc, and we asked him what hip-hop was to him since he started it. And he said hip-hop, it was just a way to reach the kids. It just happened to come through music. He just did it because he wanted to create an alternative to gang and street life. So that is how hip-hop started, as an alternative to gang and street life. And that's the most important thing.
Guess we got more people.
Yeah. Welcome, welcome. Everybody, please come up and get pen and paper. When it started on August 11th, 1973, that was the first time DJ Kool Herc decided to throw a party in the park as a back-to-school jam. And why it started, because he was one of the biggest, most famous DJs in New York City, and there was a lot of crime and Now we're going to talk about how hip-hop started and why Kool Herc is considered the father or founder of hip-hop. DJs, and some people, way back in the day had beef with Kool Herc getting credited for founding hip-hop. But there's one specific thing that Kool Herc did that no other DJs did that made his parties in the park different from everybody else's and better than everybody else's. There's something called a break beat. Anybody know what a break beat is?
Like a loop.
Say it again?
It's like a loop or a breakdown to a song.
Yep.
Exactly. So James Brown really made breakbeats famous, and Kool Herc will tell you, when you call him the father of hip hop, he was like, I gotta thank James Brown. James Brown, had his funky music, and he always had a breakbeat. Was when all the other instruments would drop, and it would just be a funky drum breakdown. So that was really popular in funk music. And as Kool Herc would go out and DJ in the park, it was the early 70s, so everybody was playing disco. Everybody played the same disco records. And Kool Herc was like, man, I missed the funk of James Brown from the 60s. So Kool Herc started to play James Brown records and some funk records. So he was really the first DJ to do a throwback. I'm gonna do a throwback record. So he noticed every time he played a funk record and that break beat would come, all the dancers, all the best dancers would do their best dance moves. He was just, as a DJ, he was watching the dance floor, and he would notice, oh wow, when that funky break beat comes, the dancers really go crazy. So he was like, I'm gonna do something for the dancers. So say he had this one James Brown record, he bought 2 of the same record. So he played the first one, and when that break beat would hit, then he would put on a second one. And when that break beat would finish, he would start the break beat on this record. So he would loop the break beat back and forth. And by extending the break beat, the dancers really went crazy, so they knew at Kool Herc's parties, and it was something that he called the merry-go-round. That's what he called it, when you loop the break beat. So since that was everybody's favorite part, and he extended the break beat, all the best dancers in New York City would come to Kool Herc's parties. So by him extending the break beat, now you know where the name break dancers comes from. He extended the break beat. All the best dancers went to his parties, started developing crews, started getting their gear together, started getting routines together, because they knew he had extended the break beat. You would get 5 minutes of just crazy funky drums. We could do a whole routine. So crews would literally practice all week and wait for Kool Herc's party on the weekend to perform. And that's what hip hop was. Once he extended the break beat and the break dancers formed crews and started performing at the parties, the culture of hip hop was born. So that's what hip hop essentially was, the extension of the break beat and break dancers performing. So now that you have the best parties, then all the cool people, local celebrities will show up. So as his parties got bigger and bigger and bigger, he would see, famous people from the hood or some famous people come, and he would start shouting their names out on the mic. Yo, so-and-so's in the house, and he's about to turn it out. So when every time, his boy would come in, he would shout his boy out, or he shot his girl out, and that's how the MC came about. He started shouting people out. Then he decided to have his friend, Coke LaRock, who was the first MC. And that was Kool Herc's boy, and Kool Herc asked him, yo, come and you do the shout-outs. Where he started making little rhymes through his shout-outs. It wasn't just like, yo, my man D's in the house. He would start making little rhymes. So then other dudes caught on. It's like, yo, give me a shot, give me a shot. So now dudes are practicing all week so they can come to the party to shout out over the mic. So that's how the MC came about. So you see, it first started with the DJ, then it went to break dancers, and then came the MC. So these are the first 3 elements of hip hop. There's 2 more elements. Does anybody know?
Rapping? Finding yourself.
Huh? Graffiti. Who said graffiti?
Someone
Graffiti.
And she said finding yourself.
Finding
Which is
yourself,
close.
yeah, which is knowledge itself, which is the 5th one. So let's talk about graffiti. Can someone spell that for me? G-A...
A-F-E.
That was too much at one time. Yeah.
I think that's
G,
2F. 2F.
two F's?
I believe so, yeah.
I-T-I?
Yeah.
All right. So, Now, to understand about rhyming, hip-hop did not invent rhyming. Hip-hop did not invent rapping. Rapping was popular, well, it wasn't popular. It had existed in music before hip-hop. There were songs in the early 60s where it was just random. It was here and there. But what hip-hop did is they made rapping famous by adapting it into their culture. But there were songs before hip-hop where there was rapping on it.
Can you name one for us? Do you have one in mind? No.
I have researched some on the internet and listened to some. There was even like female. There was a female rap song. It was like 1964, but it was just considered a different way of singing.
Okay.
But she was actually rapping.
Rapping. Okay.
You know, because she was a singer actually. And normally a singer would just do it randomly in a song, but no one really gave it.
Called it as rapping.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Graffiti was something that was around also. Graffiti started during the Vietnam War. People were writing, you know, words of protest on the walls, and then people kind of got used to seeing that, and then artists decided to add to it. So graffiti was already on the subway walls and different walls, but the way it got into hip hop when the parties got really popular, you wanted to have a dope flyer, so you would have graffiti artists design your flyer. So that's how really graffiti became the fourth element of hip hop. And let's do the fifth element up here. DG. Am I spelling that right?
So far, so good.
Yeah. Knowledge of self. And then we'll talk about who outlined these 5 different elements. Knowledge of self is the 5th element of hip hop. And knowledge of self is basically knowledge of your ancestors, whether you're African or Puerto Rican or Jamaican or Trini or wherever you're from, is understanding where your roots and your ancestors are from. And I'll tell you how that element came about. So again, it started with the DJ, went to break dancers, then the MC, graffiti came in, and knowledge of self. Now, who outlined these 5 different elements? There's basically two people that created the hip-hop culture. Obviously, Kool Herc started it, but there was one other gentleman that witnessed it and really outlined these 5 elements and said, this is what the hip-hop culture is about. Yes, Africa Bambaataa.
All right. Someone did her homework, girl.
Yeah.
Deserving applause.
Africa with a K. B-A-M-B-A-A-T-A-A. Who is Africa Bambaataa? He's now a DJ, and he's been a DJ for many years. He followed in Kool Herc's footsteps. But does anybody know who he was before he was? He was a gang member of New York's biggest, most vicious gang, called the Black Spades. The Black Spades was the biggest, most violent gang in New York City at the time in the early 70s. Africa Bambaataa was one of their head chiefs. And he heard about Kool Herc's parties, and he came to witness what was going on. And he said what he saw was peace, love, unity, and having fun. And when he came to Kool Herc's parties and witnessed what was going on at Kool Herc's parties, Kool Herc had one rule to his parties. And he said the one rule was no beef. He didn't care if you had beef with you, both of you guys got to go. He didn't want to know who started it. He didn't want to get, I'm not going to get involved. Anybody got beef at my parties, they got to go. That was Kool Herc's one rule to his parties. So Africa Bambaataa, once again, came along and saw Kool Herc's parties, and it instantly changed his life. As a gangbanger, when he saw, and Kool Herc, they said 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people will be at his parties in the park. And he would come through and he'd be like, wow, like there's no beef. Nobody's fighting, nobody's killing, nobody's stabbing. And you got like thousands of youth all hanging out. till like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it literally changed his mind. So he started to volunteer for Kool Herc as like, yo, I just want to show up, and if anything happens, you know what I'm saying? Everybody knows me, everybody respects me. This is literally my turf. You actually DJing on my turf. You know what I mean? But I love what you do. I'm gonna come down with some of my gang members, and we're gonna make sure that your parties are always peaceful. So, Kool Herc's intention with hip hop was to give the kids an alternative to gang and street life, and he literally affected the biggest gangbanger in the Bronx, Africa Bambaataa.
That's a big catch.
Yeah. So Africa Bambaataa, because of his power as a gang member, and witnessing and going to all Kool Herc's parties, he outlined the 5 elements of hip hop. This is what he saw, this is what he documented, and he said, this is what hip hop is, and he said, this is the description of what hip hop is. It's peace, love, unity, and having fun. He said, that's what he saw, I'm the man, and I'm saying it, and that's what it was. From there, Africa Bambaataa obviously quit the Black Spades, the first hip-hop organization. Anybody know what that is? Nope. Right. Zulu Nation.
Ooh.
And the purpose of Zulu Nation, that's you again?
Yeah, I saw you right, Zulu.
Okay. The purpose of Zulu Nation was to take the culture of hip-hop and spread it around the world. He wanted everybody to know this street culture that started in the South Bronx, where he's from, created peace within the gangs in his community. And gangs actually started showing up to the hip-hop parties, and they would battle through breakdancing and battle through rhyming instead of killing each other.
Channeling their energy.
Yes, sir.
You want to talk about his trip to Africa?
Right, yes. Actually, before I'm going to tell you how he came up with the name Zulu Nation. And there's two points to it. Africa Bambaataa was actually still in high school at the time when he was this big, powerful gangbanger. And he was very intelligent, and he entered an essay contest, and he won the essay contest, and he got a trip. And I don't know which country in Africa, but he won a trip to Africa. And I think before he left, there's a famous African movie called Zulu.
Yeah.
Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu.
Shaka Zulu. And it's a battle between the Zulu warriors and the British in South Africa. And even though the Zulu tribe lost that battle, what he realized was the sense of unity in the African culture that he did not see in his culture in the Bronx. But he saw that hip-hop brought people together similar to what the African Zulu tribe represented. Exactly. So that's why he named his organization Zulu Nation. And not only was that the first hip-hop organization, it was the first hip-hop tour that went overseas. So he toured the world, and now Zulu Nation chapters are all over the world. Anybody have any questions? No? So,
I do.
Yes.
Okay. I'm from France, but we love hip hop even more, maybe.
Actually, France was the second city in the world to embrace hip hop.
Yeah.
It literally went from New York City
to Paris, France. Yeah.
Even before it went to like Kentucky, it was in Paris.
Yeah. My question is,
Yes.
okay, so if hip hop is a culture, obviously, right?
Right.
Then where rap obviously was not born from hip hop, but
Hip-hop
where do you associate rap now? Because
Right.
because anybody, if you say, oh, rap, oh, but it's hip hop, well, it's just really one of the element of hip hop now. It became one of the elements of hip hop, or what?
Well,
how do you associate that?
Yeah. So there's a difference between hip hop and rap music.
Yeah.
Hip hop, obviously, as Africa Bambaataa stated, is about peace, love, unity, and having fun. Rap was around before hip hop started. So you can technically rap about whatever you want. But to be part of the hip hop culture, it has to be positive. You understand what I'm saying? So that's the difference of rap and hip hop. So most of the stuff on the radio that you hear that's disrespectful towards women, that promotes gang violence, that promotes selling drugs, things of that nature, that's rap music. That's not hip hop.
That's not hip hop.
Right.
That's the difference.
There's a difference.
Okay.
So this is the main reason why we give you guys this lesson, because we want you to understand that hip hop is a positive, peaceful movement that's about unity, about having fun. Of course, there's battles in hip hop, you know what I mean? But it's not disrespectful. You know, you can even talk. I mean, obviously, we're all human beings, and we've all been through hard things, and we can express ourselves through hip hop. But you can't promote the negativity through hip hop. If you promote negativity, then you're rap music. Hip hop is strictly a positive movement. So we're gonna play Kool Herc's favorite breakbeat, which is what's the name again? Disco band, and they had this famous breakbeat that was Kool Herc's favorite breakbeat. So we're gonna play that breakbeat, and based on the lesson that we gave you on the history of hip hop, we want you guys to write rhymes and record a song celebrating the history of hip hop and celebrating what hip hop truly is.
So you're just playing the beat though, right?
Right. We're going to play the beat now, and you guys can start writing your rhymes based on the lesson. And that's the first song that we record, so we know that everybody understands why we teach humanity through hip hop is because hip hop is humanity. It started from humanity. It started by Kool Herc wanting to give back to his community. You want to play Negusworld?